So, hi, today we're talking to Ulrich Aydt. He's a freelance photographer based in Vienna. And yeah, before we get started or before we dive deeper, can you quickly introduce yourself and what you do?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. It's kind of weird sitting on the other side of the podcast interview for now. Usually I host them as well. Of course, a little bit about myself. I'm a freelance photographer in the portrait advertising kind of world. Super interested in people. Also, I started a couple kind of side projects just for fun a couple years ago because, yeah, why not? I started the creative therapy session, which is kind of a just monthly community event where creatives can come together, exchange ideas, and just kind of foster community and build something together instead of just doing it all by yourself. And also, I'm also hosting a podcast called Gestatten Sie. It's also a weekly podcast where I speak with all kinds of creatives about whatever they're passionate about and what they're dealing with in their kind of creative lives.
Wow. Okay. So there's a lot to unpack here. I will start with the basics first, and then we can go deeper into the community and into the podcast world. So, first of all, I would be super interested in knowing what first pulled you into freelancing.
I feel like there has never been a real other option for me. I mean, I started taking pictures when I was a little kid, just because my dad had his kind of point and shoot laying around everywhere. I just picked it up and took some pictures. I got kind of super fascinated about taking pictures, I guess. And from there on, it's kind of always been clear I want to do photography as my main job. I think I was probably 11 or 12 when I took my first Photoshop VHS course. So I was like sitting in there um, with 40, 45-year-old guys trying to learn Photoshop. And then I think with 13 or something around there, I learned about the Grafische in Vienna, the photo school. From that point on, I kind of already knew I wanted to go there. And yeah, the rest kind of was clear that I want to do photography, and it's never really been an option to do anything else from there, I guess.
Is there an opportunity for photographers to be like employed somewhere?
I guess you can work in-house at like client side. Some agencies have in-house photographers as well. Um, I don't know that many people that do that. So not totally sure what that kind of landscape looks like and that kind of work or work opportunities as well. So I guess most photographers are freelance. So yeah.
How did you get started then? Like how does the process look like from like end of uni or end of school and then jumping into freelance? Like, yeah.
For me, it started during school. I kind of also already kind of skipped classes to do jobs on the side and assist photographers because, yeah, I mean, it was interesting. I think it all started with me just assisting photographers during school, just working with them. I did two, three, four internships with photographers in the US as well, in New York, Santa Barbara. Um, and from there on, I also assisted photographers in Vienna, tried to learn from them, and did side jobs on the side. Just yeah, whatever came along, whatever I wanted to do. So yeah, I guess it was kind of a natural, just starting out. Not totally sure.
So did you get most of your clients through just that micro network of working with photographers and then kind of people realizing you do it as well and coming to you, or was it friends of friends asking you to do jobs, or how did you get those first jobs that you were doing?
I think the first jobs were mainly friends of friends. I was way too shy back then to kind of approach other photographers, clients, or kind of talk too much to the agencies involved in those projects. So it was mainly friends of friends and whoever I got to meet when I was around and like just meeting people, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess at some point, were you also being paid for those jobs, or was it just for portfolio?
In the like exactly like in the totally beginning, I guess it was free work as well and getting paid a little bit. Then I mean in school, nobody really tells you or teaches you about like money and how much to charge for your work. So I think they told us something around yeah, don't work under $50 an hour or something like that.
Mm.
So that's kind of where I started off with until I had this one job working for my cousin. They organized this event, kind of big event in Vienna, and she told me to just send her send her an offer for her to just look over and get back to me. So send it to her. She looked at it, sent it back, and said, "All right, yeah, sure. Go like triple the price." And I was like, "Oh, okay, sure. That's how it works." That was kind of my first introduction to like real pricing, and from there I just tried to talk to other photographers, ask them what they charge. Some were open, some were not, and just tried to develop the prices from there.
Yeah, it seems to be a common theme that we as the creatives don't really learn anything about pricing and business, even though it would be so important because a lot of us end up in freelancing.
Oh
So,
yeah.
I mean, we did have some like a
We
course.
had similar guidance, like
Yeah.
don't you should probably charge around 60 euros. It was
Mhm.
similar.
Yeah, but yeah, I think he explained also why a bit, but I don't remember exactly what.
He did explain us, our teacher did explain us
Yeah.
taxes and all that, but that hourly price is not enough to understand what goes into creating a quote.
Yeah.
I
So it
think
was a little bit
especially in the beginning,
basic.
it's also just a kind of if you're confident enough, if you like actually realize the worth of your work so you can stand behind your offer and be confident with the price you're putting out there. I think that's a thing that a lot of especially beginning freelancers are struggling with as well. Or at least I did,
Yeah.
just sending
Mm.
out an offer and just feels like, oh wow, that's a lot of money. But I mean, the work is actually worth that, or sometimes even more because yeah, you're just not um, sure enough.
Yeah. I mean, you also have to give away around 50% of that money, and then it doesn't seem that much anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So,
definitely confidence is a huge factor. I think a lot of it comes from experience. So when you're not experienced, obviously you're not going to feel super confident about your work. And but a lot of it also comes just from understanding what the price means and what it means to the client and also what it means for you because like you said when you're giving 50% away, it's not that much money at the end of the day and then I think you only realize that when you've been in it for like a year and then you see like all the money that you've spent on taxes and
that's
social
Oh, yeah.
security. And then you're like, okay, wait, that all that money I was getting was not that much actually. And
Yeah.
Mm.
then you start to realize, okay, I need to charge more so that I actually feel like this is a good amount.
Do you actually have recommendations for younger creatives to kind of understand or realize what their work is actually worth for clients? Because that's something I've kind of struggled with explaining to other photographers or creatives on how to actually find your worth for clients, or the worth you're creating for clients.
Yeah, I think it's many things, but I think listening to people who talk about value and like
Hmm.
value-based pricing, even if you don't want to do value-based pricing, I think it's helpful to understand what the work means to the client because they're usually it's not just a number they see when they spend. It's actually an investment in something more. When they're buying photography or creative services, they were doing it so they can make money.
Mm.
So that's something to think about.
And I think that you have to detach your thinking in a sense of of course, you're doing creative work, but the output isn't just in this case, the photos. The output will be a campaign for the client, and the
Yeah.
client will generate revenue from that campaign. And I think once you kind of like put those two things together and realize your end product is not just beautiful photos, it's something that they're going to use, maybe your perspective shifts a bit.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
that's kind of
also
yeah.
I think people also forget it's a service.
Yeah, that
Mm.
too.
So it's not they're just not just buying this photo that's done. Like there's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot involved, like thinking, strategy, all that.
It's
It's,
actually one of the most complex topics when
I
it comes
know.
to pricing. So I think value is such a complex topic because everyone attributes a different value to different things. So there is no universal answer. There's no universal
Formula.
formula. Like everyone values something else. But
Mm.
yeah, it's definitely a conversation worth having, and it probably would take the whole hour if we
Oh
get
yeah,
really
for
It's a
sure.
started with that.
it's a conversation we have a lot with a lot of people. So you talk to photographers about that too?
Yeah,
What are the
everyone.
things what are the things that they kind of have you gotten advice that really helped you from another photographer? Or do you find that
Um,
you say things that other people really resonate with?
what we talked about, kind of like understanding that your work actually brings value to clients. They are earning money from your work. So it should definitely be worth way more to them, or they're going to make way more return on their investment. Otherwise, they wouldn't pay you. So there is worth in your work. And other than that, I mean, usually photographers or the photographers I talk to, we just kind of compare prices, our day rates, whatever you're charging for usage and stuff like that. That's kind of like where, yeah, most conversations go to, and just learning from other people's experiences, I guess.
Yeah, I think the transparency within the industry is so important.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
definitely.
Especially
So
right now in a kind of economy where everything's super unstable and everyone's kind of just trying to pay their rent and prices are kind of going down because everyone needs money. So yeah, it's not the
Yeah.
easiest time.
yeah, I mean, speaking of the conversations you're having with your peers, are those happening in the creative therapy sessions that you talked about that you're hosting?
As well, yeah. I mean, I
And
try to have conversations there and like everywhere else. I think it's super important just to meet up with other creatives or just other people in general and just have conversations what they're dealing with, what I'm dealing with. So yeah, I think it's not just if you're self-employed, it can be just me against the world, and that kind of sucks, I think, because I mean, why do it all by yourself if there's so many other people around you that kind of struggle with the same things, same topics? So why not just sit together and exchange ideas, learn from each other? So just try to ask people, do you want to go have a cup of coffee or a drink or whatever and talk not only about work, but about, yeah, just life, I guess. So, yeah, conversations and like also those kind of topics come up in kind of the private, personal conversations and also during the creative therapy session. Yeah, that's kind of what that is for as well.
yeah, so did you are you organizing those events, or did you also like kind of give birth to them, for lack of a better way to explain it?
I started it as well.
You
Yeah.
started it.
So,
Okay. Yeah, that's
yeah.
a better way to explain it. What made you start a whole new format? Like, were there already creative events happening and you wanted to make your own one, or what motivated you to make your own format?
Back then, I didn't really know of any other events kind of like that. I think there are multiple really networking events, which are mainly about just presenting yourself, finding others you can work with who can be kind of benefit of you. You have to present yourself. And for me, I just wanted to create a space where it doesn't really matter what exactly you do or who you are. It's just about everyone meets each other on an eye level. Doesn't matter if you're a hobbyist, if you're a professional shooting crazy advertising campaigns. Everyone's like on the same eye level. Everyone kind of just supports each other. Where it started out from was during COVID. I mean, I just worked from home, didn't really have anyone else to talk to. It was kind of isolating. And I've always kind of craved yeah, the need to talk to others. So that's kind of where it all started from. I wanted to do it or wanted to start it way before I actually started because, yeah, I mean, insecurities and stuff like that. So yeah, it took a while to get to the point where I actually started, but then yeah, it's just a monthly evening where everyone can come together, talk about work or mainly even more important, not work, to kind of just connect on a personal level because that's what most creatives need, I think, are just personal connections. And if you click and if you really appreciate each other, then there comes way more from that than just trying to understand who can benefit who, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It definitely does. I think it's also really a nice format because like you said, it's kind of lonely when you're self-employed. There are a lot of people out there doing it alone. Like we have each other, so we're a little less lonely probably. But most people are on their own, and they only ever really talk to creatives in a like in a workspace, because they maybe collaborate on something, and or networking for clients. But then having something more personal where you can also just kind of hang out and feel less lonely is really nice.
And
Yeah,
you're
it's just
probably also way more open to support and help other people that you actually know and like. They're kind of your friends. So if you know someone on a personal level, then you're probably way more open to help them and support them in work related stuff as well.
Definitely, yeah.
yeah. Were your motivations similar when you started your podcast as well?
I think so. Not totally sure, to be honest. I think back then it was like the. I mean, I've always been super interested about podcasting because I think it's such an interesting format and medium where you can have amazing conversations over a longer period of time. The connection with the audience is super close because they're in your ear and kind of just throughout your whole and everyday life. Whenever you're cooking, they're like there with you. So it's amazing. Um, so I started doing a podcast with a friend, I don't know, probably 7, 8 years ago. Didn't really work out. Then I had a break. Then I started again 5, 6 years ago in a similar format than it is right now. Then I kind of burned out a little bit from there, had a 3 year break, and then started again 2 or a little over 2 years ago. And yeah, I'm just super curious about people. I want to like meet people. I want to talk to people. Super interested in whatever makes them tick and whatever they're thinking about. And also, I think it's just about sharing knowledge. I think it's sharing experiences. If someone made an experience or a mistake once, I feel like why should someone else make the mistake again if you can learn from that other person? So yeah, just having a format where you can talk about whatever someone's dealing with and showing or sharing with others that someone else is probably struggling with the same or thinking about the same. Yeah, that kind of, I think, made me start the podcast.
It's a very intimate format. I feel like
You've had the
sometimes,
experience.
yeah, exactly. It's like just talking to someone, then it's gonna be online somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's always a bit crazy. But I really like this format because I feel like it makes people open up more. And
Mhm.
listening to conversations like this, you can really just do it, yeah, while you're cooking. I like listening to it while I bike it or on my commute. It just really, really helps me to, I don't know, to clear my head and to hear other perspectives. I really love the podcasting format.
Oh yeah, for
I
sure.
also find it really I find it inspiring as a listener, but also as someone hosting. It's something we've talked about before on our recap episodes. Like, just afterwards, we always feel so motivated to do
Oh,
something.
Yeah, like let's start something new.
Yeah. Or like, "Oh, that was so insightful what they said about that." And then we're like, "Oh,"
Yeah.
and then we talk about it after, like it was always like a debrief of like, I don't know, at least 20 minutes afterwards where we're talking
mm.
about what we already talked about for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
But since we're talking about juggling like multiple projects, how are you doing with that? Because you're doing a lot. Like you're a freelance photographer, you built a community, you have a weekly podcast, and I think the creative therapy sessions, you don't quite do everything alone. Am I
I
right? Or you
do.
do?
I
Ah, you
mean,
do?
now
Okay, then.
I started asking friends to kind of co-host with me. I started that a couple months ago because during the events, I was kind of always just the host and couldn't really have real conversations myself because all the new people came to me and I had to integrate everyone. So it was kind of having the same conversation over and over again throughout the whole evening and not being able to have like really meaningful conversations. So that's kind of why I started asking friends to co-host with me. But that helps me just throughout the night, the organization, like wherever we're hosting the event, like communicating with the location, trying to like get people there and stuff like that. That's still, yeah, all me. But I mean, it's a huge support having those people help me throughout the night. for me to enjoy it a little bit more again as well.
Yeah, makes
And
sense.
coming back to your question, how do I juggle it? I'm not totally sure. I mean, the therapy sessions so far aren't really that much work. I just have to send out the Instagram invites, kind of all the information, have to make a reservation at a location and try and figure that stuff out. But that doesn't really take up that much time. The podcast probably is the most time intense project, with being or needing to schedule one interview with a guest every week. And now I also started doing video, which is a ton more work than just doing audio. So that takes up a lot of time. But yeah, I guess it somehow works out. Photography, yeah, comes in every now and then and kind of, but yeah, I'm not totally sure how is probably the honest answer. It just works out somehow.
I kind of feel the same way about what we do. That sometimes I'm like, how are we doing all of these different things?
Yeah, and
But
we're just
somehow
adding
it,
more to it.
and then we add more to it. It's like, why are we doing this to ourselves?
Yeah, I guess we just enjoy it too much
Yeah,
not to
Yeah,
do it.
there's something,
that it gives back.
yeah, I don't know. I think it's also just like sometimes your hobby is to just keep doing new things.
Mm,
That's kind of
Yeah,
what I feel like sometimes.
yeah. I mean, yeah, what do these projects give back to you?
not being alone. I think that's kind of like the overarching theme of trying to build something. I mean, the whole idea for me is that I think the time of kind of competition is over, because I mean, why would you try and spend that much energy to outcompete your other creatives if you can use that energy to foster something more meaningful and try and build something together, try and support each other, try and lift each other up, trying to build something together. Yeah. So that's kind of what I try. And that helps me as well. I mean, having the opportunity to talk to one person a week about whatever they're dealing with, what they're struggling with, helps me to realize, oh, yeah, sure, that's something I'm dealing with as well. I'm not alone. The therapy session is like, it helps me to have other creatives around me to understand that, yeah, we're a bunch of people. It's not just me. It's like everyone's working together to build something beautiful, something that everyone can enjoy. And yeah, just build support for each other, I guess.
In those therapy sessions, are there like some very common topics that come up basically every time? Is there like a common thread?
Lately, I feel like it's the just the whole situation right now with everyone struggling with getting work. That's one topic. Pricing, probably a reoccurring topic as well. Just creative personal work. Not totally sure. There's not that much work related topics, I think. People try and, yeah, just talk about whatever they're passionate about. Some like to talk technical stuff. Some like to talk, yeah, just whatever they did. I mean, we've built a community of people where there are certain people that come pretty much every month. They're friends now. They see each other there once a month, and it's just, yeah, just hanging out with your friends and just exploring whatever everyone's been doing throughout the month. So yeah, there's so many different levels and, yeah, conversations
That sounds really
happening
great.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. When I'm just gonna rewind a little bit to when you got started with creative therapy sessions. How was it when you were, let's say, starting your first event? How did you get people to come to participate? How did you, let's say, advertise it?
Mm, I always wanted to start it with someone else because, yeah, it's way less scary doing it and just meeting up with a friend and just hoping someone else shows up. But if no one shows up, you're just there together having a drink. but
Yeah.
I've been
I
looking
think
for some.
that would be my worry too, is
Yeah,
organizing this like no one comes. That
yeah.
would be so sad. Yeah, so how did you do that then in the end?
I tried to figure something out with friends first, but no one really caught on or like what like yeah, how do you say it? No one really wanted to join. So once no one else showed up, I said I still have to do it anyway. So I just asked, I guess, one other friend, like, do you want to meet up for a drink at that time, a date, and just posted it on Instagram. And I think, and then at our first event, we were like 7 or 8 people. It was
Hmm.
just friends of friends, and they're just joining in. Someone brought some other friends. We shared it on Instagram, and that's kind of where it all started. But it was a really hard thing to put it out there, and live with the thought of nobody showing up. But
That's
it kind
pretty
of worked out.
successful. Yeah, that's pretty successful if you had so many people right away.
Yeah.
I would feel successful about like one other
If
person
one
coming.
person
So
comes in, I'm like, oh my God, thank God.
yeah.
I think in the beginning it was mainly just friends meeting up. I mean, people I knew, people the other person knew, and from there it was those people liked it and they took or brought other friends with them. So that's kind of where it grew.
I mean, that's how it starts.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember we once had an event. I mean, it was different to like a creative therapy session. What we had was like a flea market
Oh
and
Mm.
my
getting
God,
people
yeah.
to participate there. I don't know how we did it. I think also via Instagram somehow and just put it out there, but it's also super awkward if no one really, I don't know,
Signs up,
signs
yeah.
up and participates. So I totally get that feeling. It takes a
I
lot of
think it's
courage.
I think it's also the question about like how or why do you do it? Who do you do it for? I mean, if I'm sitting there just talking to one other friend and that's a win for me, that's awesome. If I do it to try and build something big, then that would be a failure. But for me, it was always just having a beautiful conversation with another person, and just having 1 or 2 people there would have been a success. And then it like grew from there. So yeah, I guess the, I don't know, measure of success was kind of low. And I just enjoyed doing it, even with fewer people there in the beginning. I mean, it wasn't that few. I mean, 7, 8 people for the first couple of meetings. That's pretty good. So
That was a lot.
it was a lot
I
of
think
fun.
that's really good piece of advice for other things too, is to like, keep your your measuring bar low for these things, because then you're more likely to succeed or at least feel successful about it.
Yeah.
Because it does need to start small. Obviously not, you can't expect
Obviously.
100 people to
Yeah.
come when they've never heard of it before. It's the first time. So how many people come now? Like now that you've been doing it for a while, what's like the average
Average
number?
would probably be, I don't know, somewhere between 25 to 45. It always depends.
Whoa. That's a
Wow,
But
that's
lot
a
of
lot.
yeah,
people.
How do you find a location for that?
that's probably the hardest part.
Okay.
'Cause, yeah.
Because the places here aren't that big,
No,
so
not really. And if you want to do or not take out up the whole venue, it's kind of
yeah.
hard finding someone or a place that's able to accommodate us as well. But yeah, somehow worked. Something I also wanted to tell that I always wanted the therapy session to kind of grow slowly because I did not want it to become just another networking event where everyone had to just present some kind of front of them. I wanted to keep the values alive, that everyone's there just to connect on a personal level, to kind of create a safer space for everyone to come enjoy that. So I feel, or I always felt like if it grew too fast, there were too many people or new people there, then that would kind of get lost. That's why I also try to not advertise it too much, especially in the beginning or like mid times. I did not ask everyone to share it too much because, if there are 20 new people there to 15 or whatever older people, then kind of like the whole spirit gets lost.
I love how you now have the opposite problem. At first, like, oh my God, I hope someone shows up. And now it's like, oh my God, I hope not too
Yeah.
many people show up.
I mean, I still want it to be, familiar, and wanted a safer space where, it's personal and not just come there and network and just leave without a real purpose behind that.
Yeah, I think that it's also really good advice to have like this intrinsic motivation. Like even if you talk to one person, your motivation was to have like a great conversation with someone and not to like, I don't know, build the next creative empire.
Yeah,
And I think with those motivators, all comes way more naturally and way more authentic, at least in my experience. So
for sure. If you know why
yeah.
you do it. I mean, if it wouldn't be for myself, probably would have stopped way earlier because I mean, it's still a lot of work. And why do it if it's not something I really value and really enjoy? So, and also hearing other people tell me they enjoy it as well. So, yeah, it's something you actually really have to enjoy it yourself, what you do. Otherwise, why do it?
Yeah, that's how I feel about the podcast as well. So much work. And a lot of people have asked me, like, yeah, would they want to do a podcast? And I'm like, yeah, make sure you actually enjoy doing it because
Yeah.
it's going to take over your life
Yeah.
in some
What do you
ways.
enjoy most about doing the podcast yourselves? I mean, what is
Um,
your why you're
I
doing it?
love you. I love you can that you
you're
cannot switch off
always
your role. You're like, okay, no, wait.
you're always
Every now and
asking
then.
us
Yeah,
questions.
exactly.
You answer first because I have an answer ready.
um, well,
That's
at
the
first,
advantage of having a co-host.
yeah, it is.
You go first.
Yeah. I mean, at first, I have to say it was more like just for me to build my confidence in public speaking. So it was kind of like self self-servicing, basically.
Mm,
And on the other hand, I also knew that in what we were trying to build, we needed to be a little bit more front facing, and I had issues with that. So it was a lot of it came from a perspective of self motivation, in a sense of I have to put myself out there. And at first, I didn't found it so much fun. If you remember,
Yeah.
I actually really disliked
I was
it.
holding her at gunpoint.
Yeah, it was
oh.
like I was like, I think I had like a whole script prepared and I was sitting
Mm.
like this, reading off of it. It was horrible. It was very bad.
Yeah, it's not
And
easy to
then,
put yourself
mm,
out there like that.
I
no.
just want to put a disclaimer in here. This was her idea. So it was like she had this idea, and I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I organized everything, and then we're sitting there. I'm like, okay, well, now you actually have to do it. I'm not gonna like do all of this work for you to then be like, I can't.
So
So
this is the thing. I'm a very big dreamer. And the thing
Mm.
is, I think in my head it made sense. But then actually sitting there was scary. It was scary to sit there and just say something. And what if I say something wrong? What if I say something I don't believe in 2 weeks
it doesn't
anymore?
matter though.
Yeah.
You can always have a new opinion
Of
later.
course. I'm just saying that those were the big factors that were like,
Mm.
oh my God, I can't do this. And now I'm actually really enjoying it. I have to say that, especially now with the guest episodes, it takes more preparation, but I have to say that the conversations that come out of this, like even just talking, gives me a lot more motivation. Just really like I would say in a way it feeds me, for lack of a better
I
expression.
totally get it though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It makes me like really. I would say it just gives a lot back for me.
Mm.
And also, as an external motivator, um, what we are doing right now is something that we would have needed. I mean, there were these formats out there, but not very accessible and not a lot of them. So there's not a lot of variety. And therefore, I think it's so important to hear other creatives talk about their struggles, their wins, and to just feel less alone.
Mm.
And yeah, and creating the space has been really fun, even though it started a bit rocky.
Yeah, it's such a huge learning curve as well from just starting out and kind of being super nervous for every recording and then to a point where you kind of gain confidence just speaking, asking questions and kind of leading the whole conversation just from your experience. It's such a fun kind of learning curve. And yeah.
It's also difficult to speak so spontaneously and make it make sense and it be concise.
Yeah.
And I think
I
that's
think that's
something
way
that's tricky.
harder from a guest's point of view, though, than from a kind of host kind of view, because you can kind of prepare yourself while they're speaking and while they're answering. You can like sort things out in your brain. When you're a guest, you have to come up with ideas on like in a blink of an eye. And that,
That's true.
at least that's what I'm struggling with right now, being a host.
That's kind of what we have when we have our episodes, just the two of us, I think, is
Mm,
that we just have to think more spontaneously because we're just having a conversation. But it's
yeah.
become a lot easier.
Yeah, and I think you're doing really well. But
You're,
yes, what you were doing is really true, because while you were talking, I was looking at the questions
Oh, yeah.
also, and to try to connect what we were trying to, like, I don't know, have like the overarching topic of this episode, and to not get like
not
totally
to
derelate.
stray. Yeah, you have
Yeah.
to keep things focused and on track.
Yeah, exactly.
I know exactly
And
what's going on in your brain. Like, how do we get back to creative meetings, like community? Why did he
exactly.
ask questions back?
No, we're completely derailed.
No.
But it's fun because on the topic of podcasting, like before you, let's switch it up a little bit before you answer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask the same question back. Like, how was it for you to get started, and what has changed?
Mm, what has changed? Not really sure. I mean, at the beginning, the conversations were more about one topic. They were a little bit more prepared. I had a clearer structure in mind. With now, I'm just trying to have a more fluent conversation and kind of just prepare a couple overarching themes and try and lead through that with just knowing I can rely on my experience of trying to pick up what could be interesting here and there, and then just flow through the conversations from there. Other than that, yeah, I was more nervous in the beginning. That's for sure. I'm still nervous every now and then before recordings now as well. But I think there's more of a confidence that I know I can have this conversation. I can lead through that conversation now with over 100 episodes kind of done already. That's that. Other than that, I'm not 100% sure what has changed. Do you feel like something big has changed for you? I mean, yeah, I know I'm turning it around again because I was struggling to find a real answer here.
When an interviewer interviews an interviewer, that's what's going on here.
Obviously.
Um,
But I'm not
so
100% sure what has changed
I have
other
a
than that.
well, I have a better question. I guess this is your third podcast, you said, right?
Yeah, the third time kind of starting over and over again.
Was it was it easier to start again after you'd been through it a couple of times, or was it every time kind of like you're starting from zero and you kind of have to learn everything again, or
I
kind of get
think it
into it
was
again?
the first time was a totally different format. It was with a friend together, co-host. So that was just super exciting. I wasn't really anxious about that when we started that. Then it kind of slowed off again. The second time I can't really remember. I don't know why. I just blacked out, I guess. And the third time was, yeah, I just want to start. Maybe my main or most biggest problem is that of kind of I want everything to be perfect from the start. So having everything figured out from the start is like, yeah, sure, it's not going to happen. That was probably the biggest thing, especially I started when, or how long, like a year or 1.5 years after I started the creative therapy session. So there were a couple people knowing me already. So I kind of had the thought of, all right, now that people might actually listen to this, then it has to have a different standard than it had before. So kind of just, yeah, putting pressure on myself to, yeah, achieve something bigger. But yeah, that maybe was a little bit easier before, but there was still some confidence because I mean, I've done it a couple of times before, even though it was a couple years back, but still, yeah, just kind of having an idea of the whole format helped a lot as well.
Yeah, I think that's something at the beginning that when I was editing our early episodes, I was way more obsessed with any kind of sound, like editing that out and stuff.
Yeah,
And now I just think like I just leave it a lot of the times because I just feel like it sounds natural and people can hear what you're saying and understand what you're saying. That's the main thing. So I'm not as particular as I was at the beginning. But I get the like having
yeah,
it needing to be perfect because people are going to listen to it and people know who you are. I guess, you know, a lot of people who are probably going to listen to it and then it's like you want it to be perfect for them.
for sure.
But the good thing is you can always update the file. So that's the positive about the digital product, is that
That's
you
true.
can always edit it after if you do ever make a mistake. So
Yeah.
I always
And
tell
you're still in
myself
total
that.
control of what you're putting out, especially from the perspective of a host. You can cut, you can edit whatever you want. So you can
Yeah,
be kind of certain of what you're putting out there and be confident with that.
for sure.
Yeah, I think perfectionism in general is a really big topic amongst creators also, to start something or to put yourself out there. I
For
mean,
sure.
I remember having struggled with that, especially in the beginning of the podcast, where I was like, I want to be really good at it, but I really suck at it. But you have to like start somewhere, and just have this whole process out in the open is kind of scary.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
have there been moments where your perfectionism in, I mean, how you explained it, has held you back, or like almost held you back, or the moments where like, no, I'm not gonna put this out there because it's not perfect yet?
I've definitely struggled with it, but I've tried to get over it. I mean, just, yeah, understanding, especially nowadays, I think the conversation, whatever we're talking about, the topics are way more important than the whole quality about it. I think in the beginning, I kind of just, yeah, took it as a given because I didn't not really have any fancy equipment. I had one, I kind of know, USB microphone that sounded pretty shitty. I had the amazing chance to have a friend who is a sound engineer who kind of uh, helped me kind of sort through the files and kind of improve them a little bit every now and then. He offered to let us record a couple episodes at his studio, so that was a huge help in the beginning. But I've never actually wanted to not put something out because it was not perfect. Maybe also because I did not really have a backup and I knew the episode had to release right now. So yeah, I think it's mainly like kind of the perfectionism and not trying to share something because I'm not 100% happy with that is more in the photography kind of world where it's directed at clients as well. So or it feels like a little bit more of a pressure to kind of portray something refined and perfect to the world. Other than, I mean, conversation podcast, human beings aren't perfect. So if there's a stumble here or there, or it doesn't sound perfect, yeah, I guess that's just human. Maybe that made it a little bit easier, but not totally sure.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it too, actually. So we talked a lot about podcasting and create your creative sessions that you host. How much photography do you still do?
That's my only source of income. So every now and
Okay.
then I still do it. No, um, the last couple months, or especially this year, has been a little rough. So there have not really been that many jobs around. I know a lot of other photographers have struggled with that as well. So it's been kind of slow during summer. It's kind of picking up a little bit now. Mm, Other than that, yeah, try to reach out to agencies, get work. But yeah, it's as every self-employed person knows, it's like up and down. You have slow months where nothing happens, and then you have 2 weeks where you need to get through, I don't know, 3 or 4 jobs and try and survive. So yeah, I feel like it's just an up and down, but still, yeah, I need to get jobs and I'm still working as a photographer to, yeah, just earn my money. And because I'm super passionate about it, I mean, I love being on set with other people creating something beautiful. So yeah, it's still, yeah, my heart still definitely beats for photography.
That's
To be super
good.
cheesy.
So it's not just your source of income, but you also still
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So when you do have weeks like that where you're juggling photography job, podcast, maybe you're also planning the next session, creative therapy session, how do you deal with that? Like, do you have a work-life balance in those weeks, or is it just like, okay, I'm going to be working around the clock this week and I'll recover after? How do you handle that?
Yeah, I think it's just I have to work. I mean, I always prioritize sleep. So I always go to bed at the same time and get up in the morning at the same time. But especially like this week right now, where I have 4 podcast recordings, 1 job, I have a therapy session happening today after this interview. I have to prepare all of the 3 or 4 podcast recordings because I'm gone after that and I have to like produce before. It's just, yeah, you're like getting up in the morning, sitting down on the computer, trying to edit the podcast, trying to cut reels, and try and prepare for a job all between there, just trying to get into a flow where I have my to-do lists and it's like, I don't have to think too much. It's just, okay, I have to do this, then this, then this, then this, and kind of not stop somewhere in between and get too lazy. And yeah, I'll recover whenever things die down a little bit.
Yeah, I think work-life balance is always difficult when you're self-employed because you could theoretically work around the clock, but it's good that you set your boundary. You get up at the same time every day, you
Yeah.
go to sleep at the same time every day. That's something we definitely didn't do enough of when we had too much going on. We would just stay up until it was finished. And
Oh yeah,
then,
no, that's priority number one because other than that, if I'm not prioritizing sleep, I'm not going to function
yeah,
anymore.
no,
I don't work
100%.
on sleep deprivation. And
Yeah.
also knowing that it's going to slow down in a week or something. So that kind of always helps. We have like something to look forward to. Okay, I'm putting in all the work now and then later I can rest again. Kind of like always the ups and downs. So yeah.
Yeah. Should we get to our last question since
Yeah.
we're nearing the end of our time? Okay.
Sure.
Wait, is this the one I always
Yes,
ask?
the one
Yes,
you always
okay.
So this
100
time you
episodes in. Who's going to ask the question?
I didn't print it.
You didn't print it. Wait, let me just remember it for a second.
Okay, so
Okay, I got it. I got
so
it.
boomery. Did you print the question?
I swear I did. Yeah.
She always prints this.
Oh wow.
I rarely even read it, but because I
Old
already kind
school.
of know. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Otherwise, I could also have it on the phone, but then I get distracted. This is perfect. It's old school
Instagram
and it works.
notification. All right. Well,
Exactly. Exactly.
At least she's not faxing it to you.
that's true.
Don't
get you tempted. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, so the question we always ask our guests is basically like if you could go back in time, talk to your past self or talk to someone now who's starting something similar to what you do, what kind of advice would you give to yourself about like starting a business or also juggling all the things that you juggle? Is there anything you would have done differently or something that would have helped you maybe?
Yeah, I think the main thing is asking for help. I've always tried to do everything by myself, be independent, not have anyone else help me because I have to do everything by myself. I have to achieve everything by myself. So just if I would have asked for help earlier, I think things would have been way easier. Doesn't matter if it's work, if it's personal, if it's the therapy session, if it's podcasting, if it's photography. Like we can't do everything by ourselves. We're not perfect. Everyone else has their own experience, and learning from that would probably have helped me way more. That's also what I would recommend to everyone out there if they're starting out or if they're successful already. Just asking other photographers for advice, for help. Everyone can reach out to me, to most other creatives, I guess, out there and just ask. The worst thing that can happen is they're not answering. And if they don't, well, they're probably not the right person anyway. So most people are super helpful in trying to support each other. So yeah, that's probably what I would have, suggested me doing earlier.
That's also such a common theme that we hear whenever we ask this question is that to ask other creators for help or to ask questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like
It's the
always
relatable as well. I
Yeah.
totally resonate with having to do it by yourself and wanting to achieve it by yourself and thinking that's somehow worth more.
Yeah.
But it's so silly. It's so silly.
Life can be way easier if you do things together. And
Yeah, 100%. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We really enjoyed talking to you. And
thank you so much for having me.
yeah. Thank you for listening to this episode of Never Went to Business School. Don't forget to follow us here on Spotify. And if you enjoy our content, check out our YouTube channel for more educational videos and subscribe to our newsletter on Substack.